Here we go. Here we go, brownies. The kids cardiac, catch me in the Muni where the party at. Dog pound, turn up with the elf up on my starter cap. Brought him back, boy we from the land and we proud of that. Louder man, front to the back, here we go, I got them shouting that. Here we go, brownies. Here we go. Here we go, brownies. Here we go, brownies. Stand up. Here we go, brownies. Game on the line, Joe Thomas, I promise. Jim Brown running through opponents, how I got this. I return like Josh Cripps, paying for the mini, got the dog pound jumping. Here we go, brownies. Here we go. Here we go, brownies. Here we go, brownies. Stand up. Here we go, brownies. Let's go.
Cleveland, this is for you. This is for you.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Here We Go Brownies podcast. I'm Allie Ellery, coming at you live from Pensacola, Florida. Joined with me, as always, out in beautiful Cleveland, Ohio, we've got Dustin. Dustin, really big show tonight, so apologies, everybody. I feel like we're kind of rushing through a couple of things, some ad reads. Just bear with us because we want to be able to get to everything. We're going to welcome on Camryn Justice here in just a few moments. Later on in the program, Michael Dean Perry and Earnest Byner will be joining us. But Dustin, how's it going? How you feeling?
Good. I just want to give a couple things, thoughts and prayers to the victims of the horrendous thing that happened in New York City with the NFL league office. Terrible, heinous thing that was done. It's been an unfortunate kind of week. And then, unfortunately, you may have been aware that the Lorain police officer here in nearby Cleveland, they were ambushed having pizza just on lunch, and one of the officers was shot and killed. Unfortunately, another is in critical condition. Another officer, he's going to need multiple surgeries, but another heinous, crazy thing. So they had the procession from Lorain, Ohio today down to Rocket Arena. Hundreds upon hundreds of officers and obviously service people were there to see him off with his family. But unfortunately, just some sad news we have to start the show with. Here locally, and of course what happened in the NFL at the national headquarters, which is kind of scary. The guy was looking for the office, and then he went to the wrong floor of all weird things, and from everything I read, but a lot more to come out on that. So yeah,
situation, lives were lost recklessly, unnecessarily, just terrible situation. So yes, starting out kind of more on a somber note with that. Kind of leading into what we know currently with your Cleveland Browns, really since we last spoke this past weekend, some terrible news. The defensive backfield, we've got Martin Emerson Jr., who is out for the season with a ruptured Achilles. We'll talk to David about that later on in the program, but that sucks. Really promising year for Martin. We're big fans of him here on the show. He's a great guy. You really hate to see this. He's got
he's a rah-rah guy. He's a rah-rah guy, yeah. Yeah,
I mean, this was a really big year for him. Outside, opposite Denzel on the outside, you had Greg inside. Really, it just sucks for him. He had a great rookie season, then kind of slowed down a little bit, but kind of getting back into it this season. So it's terrible. Things you just absolutely hate to see. So our thoughts and prayers are with Martin Emerson, but we're going to have to talk about what this defense is going to look like now without him, because in an area that you felt pretty confident about going into this season, you've got some question marks, Dustin.
Yeah, and for me, I feel like Cam Mitchell is going to probably have to step up in a larger role now because of this. Yeah, I mean, what they always say, unfortunately, it is the next man up. And, hopefully Cam will be able – I mean, you just never say a guy can fill some guy's shoes until you can actually see him actually perform on the field as a starter. But, we just hope Cam that can go in there and be a serviceable cornerback. But you're right. We talk about it all the time on the show. You can't have enough cornerbacks on an NFL football team because of this simple thing. Like, it's just one of those positions that unfortunately is high contact, high demand, and stuff happens, right? And so that's just unfortunate. And of course, we'll get into, obviously, after our show, what happened to Kenny Pickett. That was another thing that happened since our last show. And we know how those hamstrings can linger on a week or several weeks. So that's a lot to get into with David and we'll talk about that later. But yeah, just two unfortunate bang things. But man, we always talk about that. That's why teams call other teams between now and then, because injuries happen in the NFL. And I know David will talk this, a new training staff is there. And just sometimes you just have bad luck or good luck, right? And we know this when it comes to football teams. They get decimated, or you get lucky and you get through a season with just a few minor injuries. Like, it's crazy how some teams get the bug and then others don't. So it's really weird. So
it really is. Unfortunately, the Browns are very familiar with ruptured Achilles now with Martin Emerson Jr. Of course, we know with Deshaun Watson, Grant Delpit a few years ago. This is unfortunately something that's becoming, that we're just seeing more and more. So real quick, a word from our friends over at Mr. Hero.
Mr. Hero's turning 60. We're proud to have served your favorite cravings for 60 years in celebrating what we do best. Thanks, Ohio.
I crave a hero.
Be sure to check out our friends over at Mr. Hero. Get the mobile app. You can do buy one, get one orders just for signing up. You can order within the mobile app. Visit one of their Northeast Ohio locations. A really good situation over there at Mr. Hero. So be sure to check them out.
Allie, you got to try the waffle doodle sometime. The waffle doodle. I know that sounds crazy, but it literally is a bun, but they're waffles. So it's called the waffle doodle. So it's like a sandwich with waffle. I know you're like, what? Like,
I would try it. That sounds good. I would give it a shot.
It's like breakfast and lunch, right? The waffle doodle. So it's kind of like breakfast lunch.
A nice little brunch situation. So please be sure to check out our friends over at Mr. Hero. Real quick, Dustin, why don't you tell our listeners about Lady Caroline?
Yeah, guys, Lady Caroline, we have an actual fun cruise. That's right. September 6th, a lunch cruise where you can enjoy some amazing Here We Go Brownies wine samples. Also, some other Larry Lorello and his winery, other different wines as well. And then our friends over at Lake Erie Distillery. That's right. Our friends over at Lake Erie Distillery will be serving up some of that dill pickle vodka and some of those other amazing cocktails that they have, including the Here We Go Brownies cocktail. So it'll be a lot of fun, a lot of sampling, a lot of different things that we're going to be able to do on that. But that's September 6th for Lady Caroline. And if you use the code Brownies, you get 20% off. Your lunch is included. Yacht Rock, it'll be a lot of fun, prizes. But I think it'll be actually a lot of fun going out on Lake Erie with the fans and stuff like that, and just having a nice, relaxing, stress-free day before a stressful game on Sunday for the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow come to town. So that'll be fun. So
be sure to check them out. Also, while you're downtown, maybe check out the Greater Cleveland Aquarium. It's great family fun. Head on over there. They've got some great exhibits. Dustin was there live from the Shark Tank. He can speak to it. Some great exhibits in a really, really cool building. So be sure to check out our friends over at Greater Cleveland Aquarium.
And if you have kids or grandparents or whatever, you can actually feed the stingrays. It's really cool. You put your hand in and they suck it right out of your hand. It's kind of a crazy experience, but being able to like feed the stingrays, I thought was like one of the coolest things that kids or adults could interact with. So always fun down there.
All right, there you go. Well, while we wait on Camryn, Dustin, let's go ahead and get into it. Obviously, we just kind of talked about that, what that's going to look like defensively without Martin Emerson Jr. You mentioned he's a big rah-rah guy. He's a leader on the field, vocal leader. That's a huge loss in that department. However, we do have guys like Cameron Mitchell that you mentioned who's most likely going to step up into that role. Now, what you can most likely expect, and this is going to look a little differently, is sliding Greg Newsome to the outside, which he has not done since his rookie season, where he had a great rookie season. Maybe that is where he thrives. I mean, trying to maybe find a silver lining here, if we do kind of reposition Greg Newsome, who at times struggled last year, into a position where he may thrive, that's good. That's a good situation. From an unfortunate situation. And then Cameron Mitchell, who we know is a very serviceable slot corner. Feel really good about that. Now, I still have questions about the depth of the cornerback room. I don't feel great about that in its entirety, but you still have some really good young talent in that department, Dustin.
Yeah, and I still am of the belief that we're not going to keep 4 quarterbacks. We don't know where the quarterback. I mean, there's a lot that's happened at camp this week, even with Pickett. But man, maybe you trade a quarterback for a cornerback. That would be a pretty I'm just saying, give a quarter for a corner, and maybe that might work out, because one person's treasure is another person's treasure, and wants and needs happen pretty quickly. So I'd be all about, hey, if you don't want to keep 4 quarterbacks, I don't think we're going to the Super Bowl this year, but I don't want to be blown out, and I want people to be able to be covered on the defensive side of the ball. So yeah, go get a corner somewhere. There's got to be someone out there that we can pick up.
Yeah. I mean, there's Asante Samuel Jr. is still a free agent.
Yeah. Oh, good. That's
Cool. I think you can get a pretty good deal on somebody like that. Now, he's not going to solve the problem for you. He's not going to come in and be the missing piece to this team, take us to the Super Bowl. But a very good corner who I think would probably fit this scheme very well. Hard hitting, fast. That's what we like to do defensively. There's some guys out there. I mean, if you actually, let me go ahead and pull this up. The available free agents that are still out there is kind of surprising. While I pull this up, Dustin, just one right off the top. Amari Cooper's still a free agent.
I'm a little surprised by that because, it's weird. Everybody thought someone would pick up Jarvis Landry, and they didn't either, right? We thought that was a surprise when the Browns. He went on and played, but he didn't. I'm surprised nobody has picked up Amari Cooper. I'm surprised the Browns haven't picked up Amari Cooper. I mean, what do you think he wants? I mean, he can't want a lot of money. I can't imagine at this point in his career.
I don't think it's that. I think he's probably just waiting on the right situation. He's probably monitoring, training camp situations. If a receiver goes on that needs a receiver,
maybe wants to win a ring, right? We know that's. That's why he felt very advantageous to go to Buffalo. Clearly, right? He's like, this team's on the upward projection, and they're going somewhere, and possibly I want to get another ring. Yeah. Yeah. Wait, he doesn't have a ring. Never mind. He doesn't have a ring.
No.
I don't believe he does. Yeah.
That's something to keep an eye on. So I'm just going to run through this list. Now, this was last updated July 1st, so a couple of these guys may have signed since then. I'm going to do my best to cross-reference. But Asante Samuel Jr., he's still available. He's 25 years old. So that's not a bad.
That's yeah.
Last season, he was limited. He only played 4 games because he had a shoulder injury. But in those 4 games, he had 6. Or I'm sorry, no, not in those 4 games. But he has 6 interceptions, 26 total pass breakups in his 4 years with the Chargers. Keenan Allen, still a free agent. That's something. Zadarius Smith, as we know him as the player, he is also a free agent. Jadeveon Clowney, Matthew Judon. Jedrick Wills still available. As we kind of go through training camp, he's familiar with the scheme. If somebody does go down or you need a little bit more depth there, I don't know. Not the craziest thing in the world. Justin Simmons, Julian Blackmon, Kazir White, as we know, of course, Okoronkwo, he's still available. Not saying he's going to come to Cleveland, but kind of a surprising list. There are some guys here that I am shocked that are not on a team. Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper being top of that list for me.
Yeah. And I just heard from Camryn. She said she's jumping on here in a couple minutes. So I just want to give you an update on that, Alex. So she said, this is fun. She goes, got pulled into some news. So maybe she'll share some news that she's just found out. I always love Camryn because she's great with the players. Great.
Yes.
With the players.
Yes. There you go.
But let's talk about, it's interesting, just for fun. I just want to share this with you, Ali. As you know, it went viral about 4 hours ago, and I don't know if you got to see it, but David Njoku, we love him. He's crazy. He has this all-terrain vehicle that's street legal, and he put Joe Flacco in it and drove over to a gas station, and he's singing Joe, and it just went viral. I don't know if you got a chance to see that, but you've got, when we get off the show tonight, you've got to look at that, because the look on Joe was like, why did I talk myself into getting into this vehicle with David Njoku? But it'll make you laugh. It'll make you laugh.
We're going to bring Camryn Justice on real quick. Here's a quick word from our friends over at Lorello Vineyards.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Woof, woof.
Hello, welcome to Lorello Vineyards. Larry and Kim Lorello. We have a beautiful Here We Go Brownies wine that we would like to offer to you this season as we did last season. We have several other award-winning wines, lovely entertainment and events coming this summer. So come and see us, wine a bit, you'll feel better.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you at the Muni lot this fall. Go Browns.
All right, let's bring her on. Camryn Justice, how's it going?
It is going. Sorry that there's a little delay there. I've just been trying to catch up on everything. It's been a busy couple weeks for sure.
It's chaos. Kind of in the thick of it.
Have you even had time to shower after this muggy day in Cleveland?
You need multiple showers after a day like today. Like you can't get enough. But I had to go straight to the studio, so it's just it's a lot of deodorant, a lot of lotion, a lot of spray. To distance yourselves. It's very sweaty out there, so you just try to be as presentable as humanly possible in a setting like this.
Yeah, as I say, it was great to see you out there on Saturday. Bernie's been out there. I think Bernie's been out there every day now, talking with the quarterbacks. I thought that was really interesting. First time he's been at camp, pretty intensely in a couple of years. So I thought it was pretty cool to see him talking up the quarterbacks and giving them some advice. So
it's really cool. Camryn, we just appreciate your time. I know it's full go. There's just so much happening. So thanks for giving us a few minutes of your time. If you can just paint the picture of what's going on at training camp. I know there's a lot, and I'll ask you some specific questions here and there. But in terms of the quarterback situation, we know Kenny Pickett has a hamstring situation that he's dealing with, so he hasn't been practicing. But the other three are out there. We know that the two rookies are getting some first-team reps. Can you just kind of paint the picture of what we're seeing in the quarterback room?
Yeah, I think it's a gradual increase and distribution of reps. So Joe Flacco has always been the guy that's been taking the majority of those first team reps. Even when Kenny Pickett was there, it's kind of Joe Flacco, then Kenny Pickett. That doesn't change with Kenny Pickett out. What does change is his reps, the number of reps being distributed out. So Joe Flacco obviously continuing to get the majority of those first team reps. Dillon Gabriel getting a little extra. Shedeur Sanders has not taken first team reps with the offense. He did take his first team reps against the defense today. So that was a milestone for him as he continues progressing and developing. He went second team offense against the first team defense. And you could tell that the first play was an incompletion. So maybe a little bit, the route was maybe a little off. Shedeur might have been a little behind on the throw, a little mix of the two things. Not a terrible pass when you think about what it could have been. It could have been, a medicine ball. So if it's an incompletion, I'll take that incompletion. Then there was a rush. The next two, it was a small body of work. There was only four reps. The last two plays were passes though, and he was able to complete them. One was a really nice throw. So continuing to see him increase his workload and his responsibilities out there of working against that first team. That's always a good sign. Dillon Gabriel getting more of those first team reps. He's had them kind of sporadically here and there throughout training camp, even with Kenny Pickett in the mix. He's just gotten a little bit more with Kenny Pickett sidelined with that hamstring injury. And Joe Flacco, as we know, is just, he was being sidelined for some of these to get Kenny Pickett just the more reps to get him acclimated to this offense, because Joe has that background and the experience from being here before. So he naturally would require less than Kenny Pickett just to get up to speed. So I think that's kind of the mindset there, getting Kenny Pickett up to Joe Flacco's speed in terms of understanding the offense and feeling comfortable in it. So with Kenny Pickett gone, Joe Flacco's just kind of taken on that. He's not sidelined for these drills the way that he was when Kenny Pickett was out there. But we're expecting Kenny Pickett back possibly Friday. Like he's being reevaluated probably, I think, tomorrow. It's their day off. So we'll get a feel for how he's feeling with that hamstring injury on the day off, and we'll see if he's back on Friday or not. But Kevin Stefanski didn't seem like he felt like it was going to be something that was a weeks long nagging thing. He felt it was going to be days. So that reevaluation, we'll see. But early in the week, when it was first figured out, it didn't feel like it was going to be super serious. So
good. That's great. Go ahead, Dustin.
Yeah, and obviously the devastating news with Martin Emerson and what happened to him out there. We were just talking about, Cam Mitchell is going to have to step up in a major way. So just wanted to see what you're seeing on the defensive side of the ball now that obviously Martin Emerson has stepped, obviously because of the injury, and what you're seeing. Allie was talking about this, a little bit of shift. Maybe Greg Newsome may have to shift from his normal role that he was in, going back to his rookie season, but just curious what you're seeing from Schwartz on that side of the ball.
Yeah, so today was kind of the first obviously incident of getting a feel for what it's going to be like without Emerson out there. They didn't do a ton of drills that would allow us to see kind of what their approach is going to be. And Stefanski said like they're going to work through it as this week goes on into the next couple weeks of just like how they're going to reevaluate and reassess that secondary with Emerson out. I think that Cam Mitchell is definitely a really solid option. He's been a depth piece. He's stepped up. He's made some plays in the past, and as he continues his development, I think that he becomes a super viable asset for you, for the Browns, and a good option. Greg Newsome, obviously, he's already a starter. Will he have to step up? Absolutely. He's a guy that they're going to be calling on because he's not a veteran, but basically like he's got the experience, he's got the background, and he has played. He'll play in the slot, he'll play outside, like, so he's got like that versatility, and people can question if they want him in a specific role or not. That might not be an option. I mean, he just might have to do whatever is asked of him. But I do think like the one thing the Browns have harped on under Andrew Berry, this is a quote from Andrew Berry in multiple drafts, is you can never have too many corners. They've got a lot of options. They kind of stockpile cornerbacks. And so I think that somebody will step up and kind of pave themselves out a role. Tony Brown has been dealing with injury himself, so he hasn't been participating in camp, but he's a guy that has been there. He does a lot of special team stuff, but he is a cornerback that they could turn to once he's healthy. So they've got options to be determined, though. It's hard to tell maybe where they're leaning based off of today's practice, just because it was so limited in what they were doing out there. Greg Newsome was obviously out there for like some 11-on-11s. There was a lot of blocking drills, some individuals. There's limited like 11-on-11, 7-on-7 sessions that the starters were out there for. So we'll find out more Friday, definitely more next week, and as training camp continues.
Yeah. And you may not know the answer to this, I'm sure, the Browns may not know the answer to this one, but just keeping it on the defensive side of the ball, kind of shook things up with a unexpected Jordan Hicks retirement. He was the green dot. I guess the question is it going to be, is Carson Swessinger going to step up into that role? And it's looking like it's going to be, but just kind of your take on, if it's not him, who else could it be? Are they going to split that? What are you thinking?
So I will say, wearing the green dot, calling the defense, it's a big ask, especially for a rookie, because they're not only having to learn a new playbook, they're learning how to be in the NFL. This is all everything is brand new. And so it's a big ask. That said, Carson Swessinger has been a standout. It's training camp. We've only had a couple sessions with pads, but he makes plays all over the field. He loves contact. He wants to hit. He wants to tackle. And from what we're hearing, even before training camp began, just through like mini camp, Jason Tarver talking about him said that he was an option to be that like a starting Mike linebacker, to wear that green dot. And they had options. This was before Jordan Hicks retired. It was, him, Jordan Hicks, Devin Bush. These are guys that have that ability. Mahmoud Diabate has had a really strong camp. I think that he is going to take a huge leap this year. So he's another guy to watch. He's a really strong piece for them. But Carson has been super impressive. And if there's a rookie that could do it, I think that it's Carson. He's very, very even keeled, very focused on football, very high football IQ, and talented. And you're seeing that talent already in training camp. So I think that he's going to be a huge impact player for the Browns. But I do think that he is a very viable option to wear that green dot. We'll see how obviously he picks up this playbook, continues his growth and development. But between him, Diabate, Bush, they've got more options than we think. And then you've got those depth pieces like Buki Watson, Winston Reed. They've made plays, at the linebacker position. So maybe not the green dot starter, but you have options that you can turn to depth. So you can call up your rookies, put them in that position, and still have guys that you can bring in if need be. So linebacker was a question mark, right, going into this year, and then continuing with, Hicks retiring. But I think that is a position that I feel pretty confident might have some really standout players this year.
Awesome. Incredible. Music to my ears. Good.
Yeah, I'll just ask a quick question. So obviously, wide receiver, we've got some new guys on the team. Is anybody in the rookie class or anybody that we brought in the transition of the season stood out to you, other than obviously the Judys of the world, but some of these guys that are going to like fan in and we can go tight end / wide receiver, but has anybody really popped out on you with any of the sessions with Dylan Gabriel or Shador, or any guys that like you could see could make a significant impact and move up?
Yeah, there are two guys that are constantly in the play, always open, always making either crazy catches or just the standard catches, but still getting their job done. It's Gage Larvadan and Luke Floria, he's a local guy, so we love to see that. But Luke Floria has been making incredible. You see a deep ball, and you're like, that's either Larvadan or Florio. It's one of those two, and sure enough, there it is. So I think those two they've had really good camps, and you need guys like that in camp, whether they make the 53 or practice squad. They are talent, like through and through. They've had really strong camps already. I'm excited to see like game action and who stands out, because there's always the training camp hero in the preseason games, and we're always looking forward to that. But through camp already, those two have been super standout. And then Caden Davis is another guy that has just been kind of all over, and I feel like he might have maybe a stronger chance to make the 53 rather than the practice squad. But he's been making plays because he works a lot more with like the twos, sometimes getting in there with when they mix up the ones and twos. So he's had more exposure to more of the starting kind of grouping. But he's had really, really nice plays as well. So in terms of those lower level guys that maybe fly under the radar a little bit, they're not lower level for their talent. Larvadan and Floria are standout. They should be guys that you're watching, because regardless of what happens with their position on the team, you should be watching them because they're fun. They're having fun, and they're helping the quarterbacks. They're helping Dylan Gabriel and Shador Sanders. Every time they're open to make a play, that's helping those quarterbacks go through the reads, go through the progressions, understand the playbook, what things are supposed to look like. So that's exactly what you want out of these kind of guys in camp, is to have somebody that's consistent and reliable. Those two for sure have been that.
It's really cool because, Andrew Berry, the past 2 years, he's been able to do this on the defensive side of the ball. Last year with Ronnie Hickman, UDFA, Ohio guy. Previously, D'Anthony Bell, he made the team. So, would love to see that on the offensive side. I think that would be really cool to see one of these guys stick around and step up. But Camryn, I'll get you out of here on this one. Talk to us about the running back situation. We know that Quinshon's not there, but I am so curious to learn more about Dylan Sampson.
Dylan has been, just rock steady, because he's been getting, I think, a lot more reps than maybe he even anticipated. But he comes in head down, works really hard. He's out there pushing through contact, even after, they have to run through it. If they blow the play dead, they still have to run through it. He's running as hard as he can after each play. After they blow it dead and he has to run through, he's running hard the whole way. I think that he's approached this situation that he's in really well. They like what they're seeing from him and the reps that they're getting from him. And I think that he's having a nice camp. He's taken, especially recently with the Pats, he's taken a lot of hits. He won't say that they're big hits, but Carson Schlesinger is there, man. And so he's like going through the ringer, but he's going through it well. And so you really like to see that. He's constantly talking in that group to Jerome Ford, to Pierre Strong, who have that experience, always wanting to learn. And what I really like about Dylan Sampson is his approach to the game. He talked about his why all these guys have to talk about their why and why they're doing it. They share it with everybody. Dylan's why was because, he plays for his faith, but he plays for the idea that he doesn't know where he's going to be in 5 years. He said, I don't even know if I'm going to be in the league, because no one can know that. You can never know that. Nothing is promised to you. So his why is to play for every day being the only thing that's in front of you. That's all you know is that day. And I really like that. I think that's a really good mindset, especially for a rookie, to understand nothing is promised. It doesn't matter where you're drafted. If you're drafted in the first round, that doesn't mean that you're going to be successful. If you're drafted in the 7th round, that doesn't mean you're going to be a bust. These things all play out based off of an individual. And I think Dylan Sampson has embodied the idea of working hard every day and not expecting anything and not being complacent in what your expectations, like what the expectations were set against you. That running back room, I think with him, you're seeing more development from him, which means you kind of get a picture of like maybe what he will be able to do, even if they're able to sign Quinshon Judkins after this investigation, whatever the decision if Quinshon is back with the team and you start to see his role more. Jerome Ford obviously in there. No matter what happens with Dylan Sampson, you're seeing what he's capable of doing. That's huge to be able to understand that, we've got a run game. We can call on this guy. We can call on this guy. It widens your ability out there. It stretches out what you're able to do offensively. You can get creative. And I like that. The other guys though, Jerome Ford back, which is good to see. The injury that kind of kept him sidelined a little bit. He was back in team drills. He's been looking really strong, looking like he's pretty good to go. Like there's the reins have been given back to him. He can participate in those team drills. He can work through all of that. Pierre Strong, very, very nice job of stepping up too, taking a lot of reps. And Toa Taua, the new UFL running back, he's a big guy, like not in stature, not tall, but in width. I think he will fight through a hit. He is just, head down going. He was in the return game today. So I think that he's provided a little spark. He had some, they had blocking reps during individuals today. And he was all over his guy. He had a really good rep. I posted the video of it because I was like, that was a good rep from him. Oh my goodness. And then of course he was doing kick returns with Dustin Hopkins. So I had to share that one too. But another guy that UFL guys have found their way into this league and making an impact. I think that he's a guy that he has a shot to make an impact here and maybe help this run game out a little bit and give them at least a couple more bodies in a variety of talent, because I think they have different styles. All these guys have different styles, different body types, and so his addition just kind of adds to that. Which the running back room obviously thinned out, obviously a lot different, and maybe looks different as the weeks go on. But right now, I think they're getting the most out of what they're able to do with the limited capacity of backs that they've had in there.
I think that these guys, a lot of them, the running back room isn't exactly what we thought it was going to look like at this point. However, those guys that you just mentioned, especially Dylan Sampson and his why, I think that's a NFL fans, Browns fans are going to have no problem getting behind that guy. I mean, like that is somebody that this team wants to root for. That's really cool. And I'm so glad that you shared that with us. Camryn, thank you so much for taking the time for us. We really appreciate it.
And Camryn, I was just going to say real quick, I got to see a lot of running back Toa at University of Nevada, Reno. He's the real deal. Like he was their main offense the entire time at Nevada, Reno when he played Boise State. He was a tough out because he is a very physical, violent running back. So you're right. It's going to be interesting to see how he turns out.
I was very when I saw him, I was like, oh, he can he's going to break some tackles. Like he could break through some tackles. Like he's built for it. So I'm excited to see how things shape up. But yeah, guys, thanks so much for having me on. I appreciate it. And again, like I say, anytime.
Awesome.
I love this. I love coming on here. So thanks guys so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Go Browns.
All right. Is Camryn Justice. Real quick, we're going to tell you about our friends over at City Barbecue. Guys, you got to get your hands on some City Barbecue. You have it for lunch, have it for dinner. You can stop in, or they can cater your event. Excuse me. We've got award-winning sauces, meats, sides. They do it right. They're really nice. They're good people. So be sure to check out our friends over at City Barbecue. And with that, we're going to bring on the husband of the program, Dr. David Ullery. Hi, David.
Hello. Hi, Allie. Hi, Dustin.
What's happening?
David, how are you? Doctor?
Living good. Just enjoying another beautiful Wednesday here in Pensacola. 30 days, 1 month away from college football. I can't wait.
Can't wait. I cannot wait.
As I say, for me, it's 27 days because Boise State kicks off at University of South Florida right in your guys' state down there. So that must be probably one of the earliest games, probably August 28th. August 28th,
Yeah.
Thursday night. Yep.
Yep, it's up there. David, we got to get into it. Some bad news out of this team. Of course, we just talked about it with Camryn. We talked about it at the start of the show. But Martin Emerson Jr. he goes down with a ruptured Achilles. We've talked about that. Talked about this on this show many times. Unfortunately, it's not something that we'd like to talk about, but because it just happened, I want to turn it over to you if you can kind of paint the picture of what this looks like for Martin. What his anticipated recovery time could be, and of course what we could expect maybe next year.
Yeah. Really unfortunate that we've had so many conversations about Achilles injuries recently and that we know so much about it. But yeah, we all know tore his Achilles, out for the season, likely going to have surgery. If he didn't today, he will tomorrow to get that repaired. Not uncommon for a Browns defensive back to have an Achilles injury within the last 5 years. If y'all remember, Grant Delpit had this and missed his entire rookie season in 2020. And we see that he has made a recovery and is a contributing member to the defense. So we know that defensive backs can have this injury and recover from it and still play. We've seen it with running backs, quarterbacks, other positions. And so we know it's going to be a year-long recovery. But that means he should be ready to go for the 2026 season, which is terrible to say, but surgery tomorrow, in a splint or a cast for a couple weeks, and then a boot, and then gradually getting out of the boot and getting into rehab. So I mean, it looks like hopefully he'll be able to return just like Delpit did and many others before them. But we know especially at the cornerback position, planting, running backwards, pushing off is very, very important, and probably even more important than at the safety position. And so it's a little bit different sort of demands than what Grant Delpit had to go through potentially. And so that may play a role, and we may see that might impact which side of the ball he plays on, which if he has any loss in speed or twitch, because I mean, he wasn't necessarily, a super fast guy to begin with, but this could impact that even more. So curious to see how he'll recover, but unfortunately that's going to be an entire year from now.
Yeah.
As I say, to switch gears to the other injury that kind of happened after our show last week, David. Obviously, Kenny Pickett going out with that injury. Speak to that, but it sounds like we actually had some somewhat positive news from because those things they're all over the place from a few days to weeks with that type of injury. But it sounds like Kenny may be back. He's going to be reevaluated tomorrow and possibly back at practice Friday, which is, I thought that was surprising for me at least. From her.
Yeah, we'll see how he goes. I mean, these injuries we know are day to day. Soft tissue injuries, especially in the lower extremity, can re-emerge at any moment. And so hopefully this is a very short-term thing, something he can recover from quickly and can get back at it without any issues. But at least for him, he's got some experience. He's not a rookie dealing with this injury during training camp. So he should be able to bounce back a little bit quicker in terms of just scheme and participation, as long as the leg remains healthy for him.
And David, just to kind of wrap up here, today, I mean, thankfully nothing came of this, but DeJuan Jones was carted off. Turns out it was just heat related. That's really all I saw about that. But I want to turn it over to you just to kind of talk about how important that is and how dangerous this can be.
Yep. So fortunately, it looks like it was just heat related. And I mean, we all know it's hot right now, from Cleveland all the way down to Florida and in California too, I'm sure. And so, I mean, it's kind of like a PSA for everybody, but there's kind of a spectrum of heat injury that occurs, just starting with basic cramping, which we see all the time in football players, kind of moving on the spectrum to heat exhaustion and then heat stroke. Heat exhaustion is kind of described as the inability to continue activity due to just stress on the body. What happens is all your vasculature, your veins dilate, and your core temperature rises, but it's usually below 102 degrees as one of the criteria. And you normally don't see any kind of like nervous system issues. So it's more just sweating, nausea, vomiting, which might be kind of close to what DeJuan was dealing with. He probably was getting pretty fatigued. I'm sure maybe he was feeling nauseous, maybe even have thrown up. I don't know if we saw that or not, but so that one is usually reversible very quickly. Just body cooling with whether it's cold towels or getting in an ice tub, rehydrating, and then just kind of watching him. He should be back on the practice field in a day. And then heat stroke is the more dangerous one, where your temperature is over 102 degrees, and you start to see nervous system issues, like your brain isn't working, you're kind of talking funny or slurring speech. That one's more of an emergency. And so if you start to stop sweating, you're not sweating anymore, your brain is acting funny. That's where it's really truly an emergency, and care needs to be taken immediately to cool down the body within an hour. Otherwise, it can be fatal. So just kind of, be cognizant of that for our listeners who are out working in the heat. Maybe they have kids playing in sports. It's very common in football, especially with all the gear that they wear, and just be very careful with that in this hot heat in the middle of summer going into August.
It's really scary, terrifying. But David, thank you for joining us. We appreciate
David,
it.
as always, look forward to it. And, hopefully next week it'll be a more joyful injury report and not one like we had. So we look forward to it. So,
yep. Oh, and Mike Woods waived hand injury.
All right. What did you just say? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Mike Woods was waived for a hand injury.
He was? Okay. All right. For hand injury. All right. Understood. Thank you for sharing that. I did not know that. I didn't even hear you at all when you said that. It was like you're talking in cursive. Couldn't hear you. All right, David. Thank you so much for joining us. Go Browns.
Go Browns.
All right, that was the medical moment brought to you by our friends over at City Barbecue. We are going to bring two Browns legends on now. But Dustin, real quick, why don't you tell our listeners about Prime Time?
That's right, guys. Prime Time, you'll actually be able to see Earnest Byner. That's right, this Friday at the Belden Village Mall in Canton, Ohio. Not too far from where Allie grew up, down in the Canton area. Also, Michael Dean Perry, his brother William Perry will be there. Kevin Mack, part of that 1,000 club where they both rushed for over 1,000 yards in a season. That was awesome to watch. And of course, Josh Cribb, the return specialist, Andre Rison will be there, and Lorenzo White. So it's going to be like a reunion of all get out down in Canton. But Allie, it's Hall of Fame weekend, so you're going to have a lot of Hall of Famers in and a lot of Browns partaking in Canton, Ohio this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun.
True. All right, let's bring them on. We've got Michael Dean Perry and Earnest Byner. Guys, thanks for taking the time for us today.
Hey, our pleasure. Who's that good-looking young man over there to my left? There he is.
I see another good-looking man too.
How you doing, EB?
How you doing, man?
How you doing, sir?
I'm good. It's good to see you.
Man, it's nice seeing you as well.
Yeah, it's all right, man.
Well, hey, you're great. Hey, EB, your grade's a little longer than mine.
Oh, you're right. Well, I'm a little bit more long in the tooth too.
Hey, chronologically yes, but physically probably no. I just got bilateral knee replacement about 3 months ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
You coming along?
Yeah, I'm ahead of schedule, so it's coming along slowly but surely.
Yeah, no, that's good, man. Good. I'm glad you were able to get it done too, though, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, you bow-legged.
So I feel a whole lot better.
You bow-legged, so you had to have that.
Hey, you know what the surgeon told me, EB? He said, since we corrected your problem, you a centimeter taller. So now I'm 6'1" and 1 inch.
I love it.
Oh, Lordy.
It's classic. Cool, guys. Thanks for joining us. I'm so happy that you're on with us. Talk about the Browns. Talk about your signing. Dustin was just talking about that down in Belden Village Mall. Talk to us about it. You guys looking forward to heading down there to my old hometown of Canton, Ohio, to the Belden Village Mall to sign some autographs?
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I haven't been back to Canton. I don't know, maybe 15, 20 years.
Yeah, I know.
I think the last time I was in Canton, we played in the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually, I have some funny feelings about it because I've not been out in probably about maybe 6 years because the concussion case. Mm-hmm. And dealing with some of the issues that come there, but I'm looking forward to it though. It should be nice, and Browns fans have always been good to me, so it should be a blessing.
Well, I was going to add a good friend that Allie and I both know, Todd Blocker. You know him very well. You've played in multiple golf tournaments down there in Xenia, Beaver Creek Brownsbackers. He talks about that you were one of the first that he brought down to, and Allie and I played in that golf tournament. And fortunately or unfortunately, we got to play in that golf tournament and got paired up with Eric Metcalf. Allie is way better at golf now. I am not. And she literally took a golf ball off the top of Kevin Mack's golf cart. And
Yeah,
that was
I did. So what happened was it was my first ever round of golf in my life. Now I have since I've taken lessons. My husband and I, we golf all the time. I'm a diehard golf fan now, but at the time I was just getting started. So they paired us up with Eric Metcalf, and I'm on the tee box, and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna hit it. That's all I can do. But I've got a pretty wicked slice. Let me tell you something. I've got a pretty wicked slice. I tee off, and I didn't think I could make it that far, but about 200 yards to my right, I just drove it directly into Kevin Mack's golf cart. So that's that.
well, and what she's not sharing is when he turned around and had the most, because Kevin takes his golf seriously. He looked very angry. And then when he realized it was Allie, he put a big smile on his face. He's like, all right, I can't be mad at her. So it was like, it was good stuff. But
probably scared more than anything.
Yeah, fair enough. You got a golf ball coming down on your head while you're sitting there trying to get your next club out. So, Ernest, you brought up a really good point. You haven't been out for a while, but to the fans that are watching the show tonight, man, you've had a decorated career. Top 50 in rushing of all time. You go on to win a Super Bowl with Washington, and then as an executive. And then Michael Dean Perry, yourself, multi six-time Pro Bowler, Cleveland Browns legends, just paint the picture. I mean, obviously it was really fun to watch both of you guys to get in front of the camera and see each other for the first time in a long time. And now you get to hang out and, Michael, you get to hang out with your brother this weekend too, which is going to be unique and hang out down there. But just paint the picture for, I guess for, we call ourselves a show by the fans, for the fans. And we talk about this all the time. A lot of your friends, the Kevin Macks, the Reggies, the Hanfords, the Bernies, they all didn't grow up in this area, right? Bob did and Bernie did, obviously. But they stayed here because the fans were so great to them. And I guess maybe for the fans that are watching our show, tell us what your experience was. Like you said, Ernest, the fans have always been great to you. Michael, the fans have always been. But what has that meant to you? Because you've played for different teams, but what has that meant for you guys personally? I mean, you obviously went to Denver, Michael, and then you went on to Washington. But what has that meant? You probably have the most fondest memories with your brothers here and the fans here.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. So, I tell people all the time that I was at Clemson. And, of course, that the Tigers have a great fan base. And then when I was drafted by the Browns, it was equally exciting and loyal and just absolute a wonderful time playing in Cleveland Stadium. I tell the story all the time. One of our down years, when we were 3-13, and you still had the great, wonderful support of the Cleveland fans. I mean, it was still pretty much a sellout, even when we were not very good. And I just tell you the love and the excitement that they had for their Brownies, and I always appreciated that.
Yeah. Browns fans are very loyal. They love their team. They take it serious. I was part of the move that happened, and a few encounters, with some of the fans was, somebody laying their head on my shoulder and crying. I mean, that's the level of loyalty and love that they have for the Brownies. So I've always appreciated it. I've always wanted to come back. Even when I was in Washington and they said, they gave me an opportunity to come back, and I said, "Oh yes, I'll come back." Because Mr. Modell and Ozzie was on the phone, when they call me. I say, oh hell yeah, I'm in. And the Cleveland fans are one of the main reasons.
So Ernest, I want to read this.
If I remember correctly, EB, I think you were with Washington, and you came back and played Cleveland in a preseason game. You remember that? And I can remember the fans giving you a very warm reception.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Then they booed me when I scored.
well, that's what a fan does, right?
But that's the right
Hey, EB, I didn't want to bring up that, but oh Lordy.
Well, even Jason here says that, Ernest gave his parents tickets to a game and he got to meet him after, most of the team afterwards. And, Jason, he's always watched our show. We're a big fan of Jason on this show, but he's been a loyal fan of this team forever. But it just goes to show, that act of kindness just goes such a long way, and our fans will just carry that with them the rest of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
For sure. And the blessing is that they love the Browns. They love whomever is playing for the Browns. They love them, and that love just stays. It permeates the city, but it also just permeates our lives, and it's still there.
Yeah, not only in the Browns, the Cleveland area, but also the first time that we played the Chargers, San Diego Chargers, they had the Southern California Browns Breakfast Club. And I promise you, I think it was about 50,000 Browns fans there. It seemed like it was a home game for us. They do follow the Browns, so it was nice. You remember that, EB?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah, they are very loyal.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. I'm a Browns backers president as well, and we travel well, no matter wherever you're at.
Yep.
Allie knows this; she's in Florida, but wherever you go, there is a Browns backer bar or club, pretty much state or any major city you go to. One question I do want to ask, we've asked this of your alumni, is what was in Ernest? You can go first, and then Michael, but. What was and we've asked Bob Golick this too, and everybody has a very unique answer, but what was your welcome to the National Football League moment? Obviously, you played at a high level in college, but what was your welcome to the National Football League? We'll start with you, Ernest, and then we'll go to Michael. I always think it's a great question because everybody has a different answer. So,
well, I really, to tell you the truth, I just felt like I could play. And when I got drafted, I told my agent, I said, I'm going to make it because I know that I have the ability. And I think my welcome to the NFL moment was in training camp of my rookie year. And my coach they kept giving me the ball and kept putting me in the huddle. We didn't have anybody else. Well, to me, it was nobody else because he kept calling my name. Ernie, come on back. I'd run the ball down. I'd run through the thing and score a touchdown and all that kind of stuff. And that's what I did all the time. Just hustle. So the welcome to the NFL moment was when I cramped up after practice, full body. It was a full body cramp, and I had to get in there. I had to get in the cold tub. So, just knowing that right there, just let me know how much it was going to take to make it.
My welcome to the NFL moment. I don't know if Ernest remember this, but it happened my rookie year with Marty Schottenheimer. So we 9-on-7, of course. I didn't play. I wasn't starter, so I was given a look for the offense. And so EB run through the hole, right? And so I know I kind of tagged EB, nice little jolt to EB. So Marty stops to practice. He said, Michael Dean. No, he didn't say Michael Dean. He said, rookie, let me tell you something. the Browns don't play the Browns. Don't hit them again. I said, okay, that's the money, guy. Don't hit EB. So, EB, you remember that?
I do.
Huh? I was like, okay, yep. Don't touch these guys who play on Sunday. That was his message to me. So I'd say, yep, hey, told me one time and that was it. Never forgot it. So yeah, he said the Browns don't play the Browns. Don't hit them again. I said, okay.
He loved EB. He loved me, man. You know, it was just you know, he was protecting some you know, that asset as well, you know. So.
Yeah. and EB, and then it came full circle because they didn't let anybody beat me up too much after a few years with the Browns. Exactly. Yep. There you go. But that was my first welcome to the NFL. My NFL. Hey, this is serious. Yeah.
Just to double down real quick, and then I'll let Allie get in a question real quick.
Sure.
You both played with Bill Belichick. Yeah, and what he became as a coach in the National Football League. You know, did you see early on, obviously, you know, Michael, you saw him on a more intimate level on the defensive side, but did you see, you know, that Bill may have, you know, he might have that it factor to be a head coach and then go on to be what he became in the National Football League?
I didn't see that coming. No. I mean, he was so regimented, and I think when he came to the Browns, what I saw, he wanted to pretty much do everything that Bill Parcells did. And, you know, it worked for Bill. He won Super Bowls, so he figured he would incorporate that and do that. But I think when he left Cleveland, I think he reevaluated how he's going to go about coaching. And because if you remember, you know, he wouldn't engage with the media, wouldn't smile. I mean, he was just very stoic and very serious. And one of my friends that I talk to still to this day, Anthony Pleasant, who played with me in Cleveland, of course, and then played with Bill in New England. He said, yeah, Bill is a totally different guy.
Yeah.
He was a totally different guy. So he changed, he evolved. And I think that's why he had the success that he had, because he was willing to change.
Well, great coaches do, right? Great coaches.
That's exactly right. But to answer your question, I didn't see it in the beginning. No, he evolved.
Yeah, he had us. I mean, when I first got back there, we made the playoffs, but there was a situation. I don't know, Michael. I think it was an offensive meeting. We were getting ready to play Pittsburgh. We were in the playoffs in Pittsburgh, and I think we had broke down the offense defense, and Bill Belichick pulled out all the fumbles that had happened against Pittsburgh that year and showed it to it. His point was, if you do this, you're gonna lose. But the overall gist of it was that you're putting all of this in our minds as it was a negative. And so, you know, after that meeting and Bill left, Mark Rippon got that tape and just slung it up against the wall.
Oh,
it pissed him off that bad. But that's one of the things I think he, like Michael was saying, he learned from those experiences to be the type of coach that he became. You know, so I thought, I mean, he had some good qualities, but he also had some growing to do, and he did that.
Right.
Well, Dustin, we just talked about that last week and just what a change in scenery can really do for you. You know, and we're seeing that with this current team. You know, we've got some new players that, you know, are stepping up into some big roles, and we expect this team to, you know, Probably not go to the Super Bowl this year, certainly, but hopefully a little bit better offensively than we were a year ago. But my question to you all is, when you're watching this team currently, what's that like? And Michael, I'll start with you. As a former defensive player, we've got a great defense. I think on the defensive line, you feel really good about that. You've got Myles Garrett, a strong suit. And then offensively, even though it's differently in the running back room than maybe it was a year ago, you still have some great talent there. A whole legal situation going on with Quinshawn, but some high-end talent with him, Dylan Sampson. But my question to you all is, when you're watching your former positions, how are you kind of analyzing that? What are you looking forward to out of this team this year? Michael, I'll start with you.
Well, the young man that it starts with, of course, is Myles. I mean, it revolves around him. I mean, he's the Defensive Player of the Year. And, put that guy in a position to win, it makes everybody else's job a lot easier. And you talk about the rookie that we drafted from Ohio State. I mean, if the guy comes, and the one thing you have to realize as players and of course the fans need to understand this, you don't need a lot of great players. You need players with chemistry, players that can do their job. The guys who get paid the big bucks, like the Myles Garrett and others, he's going to make a play here or there that's going to change the outcome of a game probably. But you want your role players to play a consistent role. And offensively, defensively, special team, it doesn't matter. But once you can do that on a consistent basis, then you have a good nucleus for success. Because we say it all the time, you take a player here, a player there, put them on a different team. Now you may have a chance to make it to the playoffs. And once you're in the playoffs, anything can happen. But you're only 1 or 2 players away. You said, hey, we're not going to the Super Bowl this year. You never know. It's all about chemistry and how those guys can gel as well.
One of the things that I noticed last year with the Eagles is when they got in the playoffs, there was a certain type of energy that manifested, that came about when I think they played Detroit or somebody. I can't remember who they played. Forgive my memory. But the game before the championship game, they had that it quality. And the things that you want to get is you want that chemistry, like Michael Dean's saying, you want that chemistry to produce that it quality for the entire team. And that's what manifested there. And, we got a chance to do it as well. The Browns got a chance to do it. I mean, they got, quarterback, they got a system. Got a good defense. I mean, and the defense that can be a great defense. And they always say defense travels. You always want good. You want that defense to be one of the ones that they're gonna get people off the field. They're gonna turn the ball over. They're gonna do something. And you want that chemistry on the offense to be something that'll manifest and be a good thing too.
Yeah. And just like you said, because you have a great defense, that gives you an opportunity to be good, to be really, really good. Because if you look at that Super Bowl last year and you talk about what was the one position or the one unit that really, got Philadelphia that ring, it was that defensive front. I mean, Mahomes couldn't. I mean, he dropped back and those guys are on him so quick. So, I mean, you can have the most potent offense. Let me tell you something. Put it this way, guys. You take a great offense and you take a great defense. That great defense is probably going to win. Not because I'm a defensive player. That's just because, when you're talking about all the things that can go wrong on a defense, if this guy's out of position, it's a touchdown. If this guy's out of position, it's a long run. It doesn't take much for big plays to happen when defenses break down. And for those guys to play as consistent as they did, and then like I said, number one reason why is because their defensive front, their front seven, were playing exceptionally well. I mean, they kept the pressure on. And like Ernest said, you know what? They give offensive short fields. And when you have defenses on the field a long time, those guys get worn down, worn out. Trust me, I've been there. There's nothing I love better than an offense that stays on the field 10, 12 play drives. Those guys are my best friends.
Well, you bring up such a good point. You can set in a football game, Browns or any game in the NFL, and within a quarter or two, you can start to see who's winning in the trenches.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're like, man, this offensive line's having a heyday against this defensive line, or man,
right,
this offense is in for a long day. Like, and you're right. The game is won in the trenches, and that really is, at the end of the day, that's where a lot of games are won or losses, in those trenches.
And if you think about it, the role players that are consistent, say those guys make one play here, one play there, that's pretty much all you need. Because with those guys playing consistent, then you're gonna have a chance. You're gonna have a chance. And then you have your star players. They're gonna make plays, no doubt about that. But every now and then you have the role players make a play here or there. Hey, that changes the complex of the game real quick. Because that's not expected out of them. So when you have your role players playing a little bigger role or very effective, and it's not every game. It's not, 2 or 3 quarters. It could be, 1 quarter, 1 play, or it could be 2 plays. A sag here, tackle for a loss, a fumble, whatever the case may be. Those are the guys that you really depend on to help steady the ship. No, those guys are not going to get 2 and 3 sacks a game, or, a lot of quarterback pressures, or, if it's secondary, going to get a lot of pass broken up. But hey, you know what? Timely plays. Mm-hmm. That's the key word. Timely plays. When those guys make timely plays, hey, it changes the complex of the game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It says a lot, about what maybe expect out of this team. And just, I love the comment about gelling together. And I think we go back a year or 2 ago when this Browns defense was just lights out. It's because they had so much chemistry. They were just gelling every play, and they were just kind of bouncing off of that. So, just really hopeful that maybe this season we kind of get back to that, just because that's what makes it so fun to root for. There's a lot of great talent, and the fans just love rooting for these guys. But there's a comment up here that says, "Man, I wish you two still played back when it was the real Browns." But we still have talent right now.
Yeah.
Well, it is funny, and you guys probably both know this, but the Browns, kudos to you guys and what you guys did for nearly a damn decade. But the Cleveland Browns, the last divisional title was in 1989, and we are the longest suffering team without a division title in the National Football League, and it's because of what you guys did with those Browns. And I think that's why Browns fans love your entire era of what you guys did. You changed the city for decades. What people will remember, the Bernies, of that generation, and what I grew up watching. It's crazy, like, that we haven't figured it out since then, right? Like, it's kind of crazy that we haven't made it over that hump. But
it's coming.
Yeah,
it's coming.
I have faith. It's coming.
It's coming. It's on the horizon. But guys, thank you so much for taking the
You're
time.
welcome.
We
Anytime.
really. It was a lot of fun.
I'll see you guys Friday. I'll see both of you on Friday.
Tell the people, come on out.
Belden Village.
Yeah, Belden Village.
Yep.
Yeah, Belden Village, Friday, guys. There it is. Ernest will be there. William, obviously, your brother will be there.
Yep.
Michael, Kevin Mack, Josh Cribbs, Andre Rison, and Lorenzo White. Like I said, it's like a reunion down there. I told Hanford, I was like, if you're nice, Hanford, you should go down and see Michael Dean Perry. He goes, God damn it. So, does that sound about like?
Hey, yeah. You know what? I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything.
there's a lot to be
said. Hey, EB, I'm not going to let the cat out the bag.
Right. There's a lot to be said, man.
Hey, at some point, sometimes I give Hanford a hard time. That's why.
Right.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
Right. Hey, man, good to see you, Mike, man. I appreciate Ali and Dustin, y'all having us on.
No, it's
yes, absolutely. Thanks for having us on. Absolutely.
Go Browns.
All right. Go Browns.
Perry and Earnest Byner, we appreciate their time. That's a lot of fun talking to them. They bring the energy, and they're so right. You know, just a couple of things here and there. This team isn't that far away.
It is so true, Allie. Like, if you think about it, one person just moving into a position with a team, and the dynamic changes, and all of a sudden that guy didn't have that opportunity, and all of a sudden it creates this great. And it is crazy. I mean, he's right. Every team that, I mean, I didn't get to tell him this, but there's parity in the NFL, and a third or half of the people that were in the playoffs last year will not be in the playoffs this year. That is consistently known, that there will be a whole bunch of new teams this year that make it in the AFC and the NFC that weren't there last year. And you're going to have surprises like, where did that team come from? Washington Commanders. Perfect example.
We want to tell you about our friends over at True Fan Travel. Think of them as their ultimate sports road trip buddy. They're all about bringing you closer to the heart-pounding action of your favorite away games. Whether you're cheering from the stands or soaking in the local vibes, make sure every trip is packed with those I was there moments. Grab gear, make some memories with True Fan Travel. By the way, also want to tell you about our friends over at Stadium Mustard, guys. If you don't have Stadium Mustard in your kitchen this season, you are doing it wrong. The iconic brand, the iconic taste, beloved from ballparks to backyards and everywhere in between. Stadium Mustard is a smooth brown mustard rich in both taste and tradition. By the way, it is loved by millions. Be sure to head on over to stadiummustard.com to shop now. And last but not least, also want to talk about our sponsor over at We Bleed Ohio. If you are looking for your official Here We Go Brownies podcast hat, t-shirt, what have you, you can head on over there and get it. They also have some incredible designs, basketball, baseball, football apparel. They can do it all over there at We Bleed Ohio. And Dustin, I'll turn it over to you real quick. We've got to talk about our newest friend.
That's right. Like I said, Crystal Giantoni, you should check her out. By the way, she is our trusted partner in real estate here in Northeast Ohio. That's right. Crystal Giantoni will find you a house, or if you're looking for investment property and looking to do some stuff like that, she's great at that as well. Also rentals. So she will work with your rentals, your buying or your selling. And like I said, investment property is another place that she is an expert in. But that is Crystal Giantoni with EXP Group here in Greater Cleveland and Northeast Ohio. Allie, I was just going to say, I lost my thought, but I had a thought I was going to tell you, and then like my whole thing, but I was just going to mention that this team is interesting, and it's interesting. I know where my thought was. I was like, we should just have like a sponsor, call it the Justice Hour, because she could bring us so many great things when she's on for the things that she talks about. But Floria, I was going to mention him because that's where I didn't know if she was going to go there. But Floria, he is catching everything in practice, and he's a local kid, so people love him and they love that Cleveland connection. I root for guys like this that can, make a difference, Allie. In this, that's what makes training camp exciting, to be honest. These guys that you just don't know who's going to make the team.
Yep. We are excited about seeing how this progresses. Real quick before we wrap up, quick word from Mr. Hero.
SOS, I could use a hero right about now. My faith in love is upside down. H-E-R-O, where will we all go? SOS, I could use a hero right about now. My faith in love is upside down. H-E-R-O, I crave a hero.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, Browns fans, go Browns.
Go Browns.